Have you ever heard something in the woods that made every instinct in your body scream at you to run, but your legs refuse to move? My name is Marcus, and what happened to me, my best friend Tyler, and his girlfriend Sarah 3 years ago in the forests of northern Arizona still keeps me awake at night. This isn't some campfire tale I heard from a friend of a friend. I was there, I saw it, and I need to tell someone before it drives me completely insane. It was supposed to be a simple weekend camping trip. Tyler had been planning this for months, a chance to disconnect, to get away from our phones and the stress of college finals. Devil's Peak wasn't a popular spot. No designated campsites, no amenities, just raw wilderness about 40 miles outside of Flagstaff. That's exactly what we wanted, or so we thought. We arrived Friday afternoon, the October sun already dipping low behind the pine trees. The forest was dense, almost unnaturally quiet. Sarah noticed it first. "Where are all the birds?" she asked, scanning the canopy above us. Tyler laughed it off. "Probably migrated already, it's almost November." But she was right. No birds, no squirrels chattering, no insects buzzing, just silence. The kind of silence that feels like it's watching you. We set up camp in a small clearing near a dried-up creek bed. The kind of place that probably looked beautiful in the spring, but now it just felt wrong. Dead trees surrounded us like twisted sentinels, their branches reaching toward the darkening sky like skeletal fingers. By the time we got the fire going, darkness had swallowed the forest whole. And that's when we heard it for the first time. A whistle. Not a bird whistle. Not the wind. A perfect human whistle. A tune I didn't recognize, coming from somewhere deep in the trees. Tyler grabbed his flashlight and aimed it toward the sound. The beam cut through the darkness but revealed nothing except trees and shadows. "Probably another camper," he said, but his voice had lost its earlier confidence. The whistling stopped. Then, from a completely different direction, it started again. Same tune, same perfect pitch. Sarah moved closer to the fire. "I don't like this, guys. Maybe we should head back." "Back?" Tyler checked his phone. "It's almost 9. We'd be hiking in the dark on an unmarked trail. That's more dangerous than some weirdo whistling in the woods." He was right, but I'll regret agreeing with him for the rest of my life. We tried to relax, tried to enjoy the fire and the s'mores Sarah had brought. But every few minutes, that whistling would start up again, sometimes close, sometimes far, always from a different location, like whatever was making the sound was circling our camp. Around midnight, Tyler and I convinced Sarah to try to get some sleep. She reluctantly crawled into her and Tyler's tent while he and I stayed by the fire, keeping watch. That's when things escalated. At first, we heard footsteps, twigs snapping, leaves crunching. Something was moving through the brush just beyond the fire's light. Tyler stood up, grabbing a large stick from our firewood pile. "Who's there?" he called out. The footsteps stopped. Then we heard Sarah scream. We spun around just as she burst out of the tent, her face pale with terror. "Something touched the tent," she gasped. Something ran its hand along the outside. I felt it press against my back, through the fabric. The three of us huddled by the fire, backs to each other, scanning the tree line. My heart was hammering so hard I could hear it in my ears. That's when I saw it. Just at the edge of the firelight, standing between 2 pine trees, was a figure. At first I thought it was a person, tall, maybe 6.5 feet, with a thin frame. But as my eyes adjusted, I realized something was horribly wrong. It was moving, but not like a human. Its limbs bent at odd angles like its joints worked in reverse. And its head, God, its head, was tilted at an unnatural angle, almost 90 degrees, like a curious dog, but so wrong. "What the hell is that?" Tyler whispered. The thing took a step forward into the light. That's when I saw its face, or what should have been its face. In the flickering firelight, it looked like a twisted amalgamation. Human features, but stretched and wrong. The eyes were too large, too reflective, catching the light like an animal's. And then it smiled. Not a human smile, too wide, too many teeth. "Run," Sarah said. "What?" Tyler turned to her. "Run!" We bolted into the forest, leaving everything behind. Our tents, our supplies, our phones, charging in Tyler's backpack. None of it mattered, we just ran. The thing behind us, it didn't run. It pursued us like a predator that knew we'd tire eventually. I could hear it moving through the brush, sometimes on 2 legs, sometimes, and this still makes my skin crawl, on 4. We crashed through branches, stumbled over roots, Sarah falling twice before Tyler and I hauled her back to her feet. The forest was a maze of darkness and terror. Then Tyler's flashlight died. We were plunged into complete blackness, the canopy above blocking out even the moonlight. We kept running anyway, holding on to each other, until Sarah suddenly jerked to a stop. "Listen," she hissed. We froze. The forest was silent again. No footsteps, no whistling, nothing. "Did we lose it?" Tyler panted. That's when we heard Sarah's voice. "Guys, where did you go?" But Sarah was standing right next to us. The voice came again from somewhere ahead in the darkness. "Tyler? Marcus? I'm scared. Please help me." It was Sarah's voice. Perfect. Exact. But Sarah was right there, her hand squeezing mine so hard it hurt. "It's mimicking me," she whispered, her real voice trembling with fear. The fake Sarah called out again, closer now. "Please, I can't find the camp. I'm lost." Then we heard Tyler's voice join in, coming from our left. "Sarah, is that you? Marcus, where are you guys?" But Tyler was on my right, his breathing ragged with panic. The voices multiplied. Our own voices, calling to each other, coming from every direction. A dozen Marcus's, Tyler's, and Sarah's, all begging for help, all sounding desperate and afraid. We ran again, this time with no idea where we were going. The cacophony of our own voices chased us through the darkness until finally, miraculously, we burst onto a paved road. A trucker, hauling goods on the highway that cut through the national forest, nearly hit us. He slammed on his brakes, and I've never been more grateful to see another human being in my life. He drove us to the nearest ranger station. When we tried to explain what happened, the rangers exchanged knowing looks. One of them, an older man with weathered skin and tired eyes, pulled me aside. "You camped at Devil's Peak, didn't you?" I nodded. He sighed. "You're the 3rd group this year. You're lucky you all made it out." When I asked what he meant, he just shook his head. "Some places aren't meant for us. The locals have known about that area for generations. There's a reason it doesn't have a name on most maps anymore." We never went back for our gear. The rangers offered to retrieve it, but we declined. I didn't want them to risk it, and honestly, I never wanted to see that place again. So to answer my opening question, yes, I've heard something in the woods that made every instinct scream at me to run. And when my legs finally did move, they saved my life. Tyler and Sarah broke up 6 months later. Sarah said she couldn't look at Tyler without remembering that night. We all went to therapy. We all still have nightmares. Sometimes when I'm alone at night, I hear whistling outside my window. That same tune from Devil's Peak. I know it's just my mind playing tricks on me. That thing is still out there, in those woods, 40 miles from Flagstaff. At least I hope it's still out there. Because the alternative that it followed us home is too terrifying to consider. If you're planning a camping trip in northern Arizona, do yourself a favor. Stay away from Devil's Peak. Some places are better left alone. And if you're out in the woods and you hear whistling, don't whistle back.